I am Brant Long, the brand director for Jones Lang LaSalle. LaSalle is about a $3 billion US revenue company. We are a global property consultancy, now the largest in Europe due to a recent acquisition we have made. In a company like ours, we have a lot of assets. We're a content company, really. Our assets are marketing campaigns, they're our brand, and a big aspect of what we have is our research output. So we do a lot of market research in local markets. Clients come to us for advice. They like to know what's the data in each city. So a big asset that we have, and it is branded, is our research outputs. In a really busy year, we will publish over 2,000 publications. So you can imagine trying to manage those assets from a brand standpoint, a messaging standpoint, just an identity and design standpoint can be quite daunting. We have a common technology platform that we launched 3 years ago. It's a content management system that is global. It's been adopted by the entire organization, and it now is the home to all of these assets. So the first phase was just getting them in there, getting everything in the library, stacking the shelves so that people could see it and know what was there first and foremost. Then comes around the work of tagging that information with meta information so that it then becomes a little more useful, a little more mobile to move around to find where it needs to go. Eventually we're moving into mobilization, customization. We actually have an iPhone app now where customers and people can use a handheld device to download our content, get our research. But we're now doing a lot of research with customers and finding out the way they use the information, where they use it, when they use it, what types of information they want. So this is pretty basic stuff for a lot of consumer-led brands where they've been into CRM systems and a lot of social media. But for us, which is it's a people business, it's a service business, opening these new channels has a lot of challenges. So I think we're moving pretty quickly. I think we're ahead of the competition. But you asked about what the impact technology has is, I think a lot of times from a management standpoint, people think, well, we have computers, we have digital asset management systems, can't we just push a button and all this stuff happens overnight? And it doesn't really work that way. There still has to be, someone has to write the content, create it, edit it, make sure it is up to a certain standard, then place it in the library, tag it correctly so people can find it. So I think the risk is, with technology, with digital, is companies produce more assets as opposed to better assets or the right assets because they think, oh, digital is free, the web is free, we're not paying for media, we're not buying time, let's just fill that void with more and more content and information. So I think that's great in the first round, in the first instance, where you test new channels. But I think you have to come back around and say, right, is that the right thing to do? Did we get the right response? Is it too much information, too little information? What else could we do? So we do have a digital asset management system that we are putting in place so that globally all of the people who work with the brand and creative assets will have access to the same things. As I've done my explorations, speaking to the different people in the markets, asking them what's the one thing you'd really like to get out of this system, and they constantly say, we'd like to see what other people are doing. We'd like to see the best practices. So that's my main goal, is show people what good looks like. This is something you hear very often when you go hire a consultant or an agency. When they come in, they audit your process and they say, we need to create a brand film to show people what good looks like. And I kind of raise my hand and say, let's do that, but let's not then say, this is what good looks like, but you can't afford it. Because that's very often, good looks really good and it's expensive. People always say, oh, look at Apple, look at this big company, and you say, well, yes, but they do spend quite a bit of money that's slightly more than our budget, so maybe let's think of somebody in our space who's doing good, but not necessarily fantastic, over-the-top, consumer-driven, wow factor kinds of things. It's a very interesting point. Launching a new technology is fraught with a lot more issues than people expect. Very often you're buying a software package, but what they don't say is it has to come with a change management program, a cultural adjustment, and sometimes the investment case is just simply a matter of how many bodies can we throw at the implementation and the development. It's usually a year later when they realize, oops, people aren't using it, what's wrong? It may take 2 years, it may take 3 years. What it takes usually is someone in the organization to recognize the value of it and be kind of the pioneer and grab a hold of it and use it, and then that becomes the best practice and they can show it to other people, and immediately the efficiencies start to be there. It's very common sense when a package like that is sold into the board. It's very common sense. The numbers will be there, the efficiency will be there, but I think the further you go away from the center and from the procurement where the decision was made, it's the cultural bit, and like you said, it's sometimes people are afraid of change, and so you need to demonstrate for them how it will be good for them, how it will save them time and effort, how it can make them a star in a lot of ways. And any technology is only as good as how you use it. Unless you start using it, you're not going to see the value. Someone can present a business case to you and say, this will save you so much money on redos and agency fees and artwork markups and storage. But until the teams actually start using it and implementing it in their daily work, they're not going to see the value in it. So they may keep it at a distance for a while.